Right, guys, as promised, we are joined by Austin McNamara, former Texas Tech punter, who's now entering the draft and has gone through various things in the combine by the looks of things as well. How are you, sir?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you, Ollie?
Yeah, I'm all good. I enjoyed watching you stumble over whether it was Texas Tech or Texas A&M or which Texas was going to come out there as the college.
I really did. I was, practicing this all before, and then I was like, hold up, let's get this right.
It's
But
Texas Tech. It's definitely Texas Tech. Right, got it. Got it.
how do you
No,
find
it's
that,
good.
Austin? How do you find that, Austin? Is it with all the colleges in Texas? Is it quite competitive?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I've definitely had people come up to me and say like, I watched you at Texas, like, or they'll be like, they don't understand Texas and Texas Tech and A&M and TCU. Like everyone's like, it's a different school in Texas. There's so many of them. So, I mean, a lot of the Big 12 is in Texas, obviously, which is nice for traveling purposes. But yeah, no, people confuse all the time. Especially people from out of state, where I'm from in Arizona, where Texas isn't as big and stuff. So. But no, everybody's super competitive. Texas is probably one of our bigger rivals. I haven't played against A&M when I was there. We used to play them before I got there, but Texas is one of our bigger rivals. TCU is a little bit closer than Texas as far as like location wise. So they're always a rival as well in the Big 12. Anyone in the Big 12, really is. But the Texas schools is a little more personal because all those guys are from Texas. I'm one of the few that were from out of state. So everyone in Texas, didn't get recruited by this school in Texas or over this one, so they want to get back at them. So it's just kind of yeah. So it goes back and forth, but it is super competitive.
A little bit of that feeling of like you're a long way from home, boy, when you went to the locker room, then kind of thing, when it's all the
Absolutely.
Texas guys.
Yeah, it was very different environment, very different, setting. And it's a lot different than Arizona where I'm from originally. So I had to adjust a little bit and ended up being great. I played, 5 years there and I really enjoyed Lubbock and the people there and just everybody that was there and coaching staffs and my teammates and everyone. So I really, really enjoyed it.
You got the weather though, both sides, so you're kind of happy, right? When
Right,
you got in
absolutely.
Texas and
Yeah,
Arizona.
yeah, yep, no doubt.
Do you I know it's a little bit of a golf link there, obviously in the family as well. We're playing golf. You able to get some good courses in Texas still?
Yeah, yeah. We I try and play, wherever I can in Texas. We only have in Lubbock, it's a little bit, smaller than the major cities. So we have about three or four courses probably. And we usually probably play about two of them consistently. There's one that's like okay, and there's a couple that are decent. Arizona, you can't beat the golf here in Arizona. So every time I come home, I try and play as well. So but yeah, no, we play. Me and my teammates, we'll go play throughout the season on like our off day or in the off season, especially during the summer. We have more free time. Go and play golf, and I try and go. I'll go home with one of my best friends. He's a kicker. He lives in Dallas. So I'll go home with him and play other courses in Dallas. I played one or two in Austin area. I haven't played in Houston yet. But no, Texas has great golf. I love to play there. Usually it's decent weather, so that also makes it nice. But Arizona, where I'm from, you definitely can't beat the golf here.
What's
Yeah,
the
no, that.
handicap?
Mhm.
My handicap, I picked it up about like 2 years ago. I shoot like mid 80s, low 90s, pretty much every time I go play. So I'm getting better. I'm decent. My dad played golf in college,
Yeah.
so he's been helping me out a little bit, and he played at Long Beach State in California. So we kind of go back and forth, and he thinks he can still outdrive me, but he can't. I mean, he'll get me every once in a while on the driver, and we go back and forth, kind of just have fun with it. But no, we try and go play all the time. But he played golf, so I've kind of picking it up from him in the last couple of years. I wish I played earlier. I didn't start playing, like I said, until 2 years ago. But I wish I picked it up sooner. But it's all good.
Nice, nice. So, listen, you're here now. We've gone through college. You're now about to enter, obviously, in a position where you want to get to. I guess it's everyone's dream, obviously, to try and get into the NFL. How have you found it since knowing that you were going to be trying to sort of declare for the draft and going through this process of the combine? How have you dealt with that?
Yeah, it's been a big adjustment going from college to pro, and I'm home now with my family, which has been great. Being able to spend time with them. I usually go home about twice a year, usually just because it's a little bit farther drive and flight is not easy to get to. So that part's been great. But as far as like training wise, it's nice to be on my own, being able to have a schedule and stick to it. And I've been able to go to a couple new places in the last couple of months, which has been great, and go see different stuff and different parts of the world and the country and stuff. And so that's been really cool. But overall, it's been fun. NFL balls are a lot more fun to kick for sure. They're a little bit fatter and bigger sweet spot, so that's been nice. And really, yeah, just like I said, having the freedom to be able to do what I want to do, get ready for I kind of realized in, I guess, December, January, that I'm not going to have a true off season that I'm used to, as far as like, going through a college off season and lifting and spring ball and all that stuff that comes with it in the summer. And then you start the season, kind of my off season is only a few weeks at a time here and there, just working on something small, but I haven't critiqued much, just been, kicking and lifting and taking care of my body and stuff. So it's kind of, sometimes it feels like I'm still in season at some parts of this process, but it's been great. Nonetheless, obviously it's my dream to play in the NFL and play the next level. And so just trying to pursue that and play everything I can into it.
You
Nice.
say lifting, it's all leg day, right? I mean, it's
Yeah, I
just
mean, we
leg
do,
day.
we
There's
do a
no
lot of,
guns
yeah,
or
yeah.
anything.
No, no. I mean, you also got to do some arms to look good on camera, on TV. It's like
Yeah.
that's the thing. But other than that, no, other than, I mean, we'll do a lot of legs. I'll usually do more explosive stuff like with legs and do more of that. That's kind of been the key. And just keep you don't want to like squat or deadlift, super heavy. You lose your flexibility, get hurt. You never know what can happen. So I try and keep it light and really just work on my explosiveness through the ball, and that's what's going to make me better. So.
With the watching the NFL the last couple of seasons now, I've seen a lot more teams going for it on fourth, and rather than obviously calling on someone like yourself, obviously as the punter. What was that like in college? Was there the same sort of trends there?
Yeah, we were pretty aggressive on fourth down in college. At Tech, we had a really good offense coordinator. We've had a couple when I was there, but the most recent one, he was more aggressive on fourth down, and it wasn't because they didn't want to use me or use my leg. It was just whatever the book says, go for it or don't go for it. Right? They were pretty aggressive on fourth down, which I liked. It keeps the fans into the game, and I know a lot of them wanted to use me at times, and that always happens, but. Obviously I trusted our coaches, trusted what they wanted to do. And, I just go out there when I'm told and do my thing and stuff. So, but no, fourth down, we like to go for it a lot. We were a lot more aggressive this year. In the NFL, like you mentioned, I think it's coming more and more of a thing now. So, it's obviously fun to watch and be a part of. And, it works out. When it works out, it's great. When it doesn't, unfortunately, it's like, what could have happened? What if? But that's just football and that's part of the game, So, but like I said, I just sit on the sideline, I get warmed up, do my normal routine. Like I'm going out there and fourth down every time. And if I don't, it's cool. And, if I do, just try and do my best out there. So really just play by ear. But
how's the arm for going on it on 4th and 2, say? Maybe a little punter pass or something like that.
pass. Yeah. I completed one pass when I was at Tech. I'm 1 for 1. I have a better completion percentage than Patrick Mahomes at Texas Tech.
Nice.
So that's my one stat I have on him because I'm 1 for 1, 100%. So that was back in 2019. That was my freshman year. We threw a fake pass. We didn't attempt one. We ran a couple other fakes, but nothing throwing since then. But no, overall, yeah, I can throw a little bit. I didn't play quarterback or anything in high school, but I mean, I played basketball in high school. And I've been throwing, played football for a long time, and yeah, I can throw a little bit. So
Dude, that means you should be a tight end. If you play basketball in high school, every basketball player goes to tight end, surely. I mean, how does it become about a guy, Arizona, Southern states in general have such a love for hard-nosed physical football and stuff like that. What makes somebody like yourself go, I'm going to be the punter. I'm gonna be the guy that comes in like once every so often. Generally, most people don't want to see me out there because if I'm on, stuff's not going too well on offense. Like, what's that mentality?
Yeah, most people don't want to see me out there, which is okay. I kind of accept that's what I signed up for. But I played soccer. I played soccer growing up as well, so that's kind of how a lot of kickers and punters play soccer. They have that soccer background. And like Sebastian, I'm 6'4", almost 6'5", so I have like the height, and I had that growing up through junior high and high school. So that's kind of my basketball kind of stuck with me. And I still love to play it. I'll go like shoot hoops, and I haven't played a big game in a long time, just because I don't want to get hurt. But I love to be active. So basketball kind of came a little more natural to me. I started kicking when I was a freshman in high school, right before my freshman year of high school. So it kind of came a little bit later. I was planning on playing basketball for years of high school. I didn't know if I probably wasn't like, I could have played somewhere smaller D1 maybe. I wasn't like a Zion Williamson or anything like that in high school. But as far as that goes, but I was decent at basketball, and I loved it, and I still love it. And but I played soccer growing up, so that's kind of how I got into kicking. And like I said, I tried it out. I actually liked it, and wanted to keep getting better at it. And my college recruiting kind of took off my junior year. That's kind of when I realized I could do this maybe in college, and decided to stick with it and end up at Texas Tech. And then here we are now. So kind of crazy.
Man, I'm loving these little stories here. I'm just waiting for you to say that you can play another sport because we've listed a few. So I'm just gonna hopefully down the line you're gonna come up with something else. Maybe you play bowling or something like that. I don't know,
No, no.
but no.
Pretty cool.
But you know what is there's been a few talking points actually between obviously about kickers and punters at the moment with the kickoff rules and the
Mhm.
potential change there and trying to copy what they're doing in the XFL. What do you think of that? Would you prefer that when you maybe a bit less under pressure from the defense?
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, I just heard about the rule a couple weeks ago. I think kind of everyone has kind of heard about it over the last few weeks and what that they're trying to pass and what they're trying to do. It's very interesting. I just wasn't expecting the touchback to be a penalty, and you know, obviously out of bounds is still a penalty, which is still normal, and then it has to be instead of 20. And it's just there's a lot of more rules and things. It's not a very hard kick as a kicker to do. As far as pinning them kind of outside the NFL hashes to the numbers area, like putting them inside the 20. It's kind of like a punt for me, essentially. Obviously, it's obviously a kicking motion now. So it's not a very difficult kick. Like it's not as demanding, I guess, and taxing on your leg. But it is interesting how the return stuff will be set up and what they're going to do with that and all the rules with that and stuff. And I mean, like I don't, it's way above my pay grade. I can't do anything about it. We obviously, whatever rule they pass, we're going to do it, and we're going to practice as much as we can and try and get better at it and perfect it as much as we can. So, it is what it is. I think it's cool. And, just have to keep practicing it and add that into the bag of tricks.
Nice.
Is there a bit of a purist in you that like we're losing some aspects of the game? Player safety is always, the highest order. At the end of the day, it has to be about keeping players safe. But there are things like fullbacks are barely used on offense anymore. If we start losing a lot of special teams, which so often is called that third phase of the game, and if it goes away, it's a different sport a little bit, isn't it? To maybe what a lot of us and a lot of our parents kind of watched growing up, and it's always going to adapt and evolve, I suppose.
Right. Yeah. No, some of the stuff is kind of fading away a little bit, and there's always room for change, and all good things come to an end, as they say. So I mean, there's certain stuff that I'm sure people want to get rid of for a long time, and other things that they don't want to, and that's just how it goes. So no, it'll be interesting to see what happens in the next few months and really years, just how the game's going to change and evolve, and the kickoff rule is the beginning, and I'm sure there's going to be other stuff, and just have to adapt to it and just roll with it. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes. Yeah.
Things are kind of changing across the board, even in college as well. Now, obviously, there's players can receive money when they're playing now in college for their likenesses.
Yep.
Key question: $600 to be in that EA Sports college football game. Would you have taken it?
I would have.
Yeah, all right.
Absolutely. I know I was super bummed. I was like, I don't think I'll be in there, unfortunately. And it would have been awesome, obviously. I guess if I make it to the next level, Madden would be, cool as well to be in, on Madden. But, that's obviously not obviously secure and solidified as well. But no, yes, the college football, games would be pretty sweet. And, excited to build Texas Tech to a national championship one day and get them going, just through my team or whatever, and get them back on the map. But no, it's really cool. Yeah, I would definitely taking it to answer your question. For
Nice,
sure.
nice.
It's actually nice to see obviously players now in college able to earn some money, with what everyone puts themselves through, the training, the sacrifice that they have to put themselves through. And sometimes things don't always work out. Let's not all just paint a magic rainbow here. Things don't work out. So do you feel like that was the right way to go to make sure that everyone was looked after in that side of things financially?
I do. I mean, as far as like NIL goes, like you mentioned, it's very beneficial to a lot of guys, especially guys that don't come from very much money or help their families out. And so that's been a big thing, that I've seen at other, not maybe at Texas Tech, but other schools as well. You hear the stories and read about them and stuff, and that's been huge. But no, and then also, for me, like I could put it into, savings and save it away and start make a little bit of money off that, but just have that, kind of give me a head start, if NFL doesn't work out and I have to move all my life into a different career, have a little bit of money to get started and be able to move and get a house and all that stuff, whatever. So it definitely is a big advantage. There's obviously some disadvantages to it as we read online and people are using it for the wrong things or whatever. And that's on them, it's just is what it is. It's, free do whatever you want with it, So it's up now to those guys, but yeah. So no, it was a really big thing. I was glad to be a part of it for about 2 years, I guess so, and be able to be a part of that era of college football where it changed, and yeah, I could say that I was part of the NIL and all that, and yeah, it was very beneficial for me. So
Nice, nice.
They'll be sticking you down as one of the founding fathers of the
Yeah.
new college football kind of era now. Surely you'll go down in history like that, right?
nah, I don't know about that.
I said I'm
When it
gonna
comes,
pop. Oh, sorry, mate. Go on, you go. If you've got a football
no, no, I
question,
was
because
going to
I was
say
gonna go somewhere else.
when it comes to, obviously you come out of college, that's all changed. You come into now the combine kind of experience, and being involved in that, which is a great honor for guys to get asked to kind of go and do that. You've got, obviously, I'm sure, like pro days coming up where you need to showcase the leg and everything. Do you kind of feel a little bit like you're on 24/7 Big Brother right now for the next few months? Because I've spoken to scouts in the past when they say, yeah, the drills are important at the combine, but we watch them what they do when they're walking away, when they're interacting with teammates. The teams have the interviews as well and stuff. And what's it kind of like walking around, if it does feel like that, with that? I don't know, it's a bit of pressure on the shoulders, every move. I don't want you to think that we're going to be too uptight with you here. I want you to be relaxed and everything when we talk to you, but there's kind of a judgment on a lot of stuff, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, no, you're 100% right. I mean, yeah, everyone, they watch you, warm up and your interview style and how you talk and how you carry yourself. And they ask, they've asked, for numbers of like people that you work with at your facility. I mean, they talk to not position coaches, like football coaches, but they talk to like janitors and nutritionists and people in the training room, like, interns, like just they talk to everyone because they want to find out and want to know like how you were, in college, even go back to high school. I'm sure they can do the research, obviously, and they can, go back and ask about high school. And hopefully, like I said, I try and treat everyone, with respect and kindness. And that's just how I was raised, and that's just who I am. So I hopefully no one has anything bad to say about me for it. But, but I said, I try and, because I kind of realized that, growing up and then even throughout college, like I kind of just got the head start of just starting from day one, just not getting into any of that stuff because it can come back to bite you, later, especially in this process now. So, like I said, it's a little bit of pressure, for sure. And I've dealt a lot of pressure in my career so far and something really new. And I just be myself and care myself, how I do. And I haven't had, it hasn't broke yet, so I'm not going to fix it. And, just and keep being me and just, just carry myself the way I do and how I was raised and all that. So, but no, it definitely is, you can definitely see it. You can definitely tell the difference between college and NFL and the coaches and what questions they ask you, how they phrase it, how they word it. You just got to pay attention to all that and make sure you answer it the right way and just be honest. That's the other big thing, and you'll be fine. So yeah, but it has been cool to see the difference for sure.
Did you get any weird ones? I know we've heard so many odd stories about coaches asking ludicrous questions and family member stuff and all that. What was the weirdest one you were asked? Or are you not allowed to say? Is there like an NDA or something?
I actually didn't I mean, I can't think of any top of my head. I mean, that like just made me go like wow, or like, I got to tell people about it or whatever. Like it was I've just gotten, basic questions, just asking about family and background and my career at Tech and how I started kicking, like just simple stuff like that. But nothing, honestly, I've not been asked any crazy questions yet. So I guess we'll wait until that day comes, but it hasn't been asked yet. So it's all good.
Yeah, you got safe then. You're safe. But we won't ask you weird questions. We won't. And well, we try not
Sam
to.
won't ask you weird questions, yeah.
I'll
You
try
ask
not
whatever you
to.
want. You can.
I'll try not to. Listen, Arizona, one of my favorite places, hence where I became a Cardinals fan. Used to go quite a lot. Haven't been for a while.
Uh-huh.
Putting the football aside, where is the hot spot for food right now? Where do we go when we come over to sunny Arizona? Where's your favorite place to go?
Arizona. Ooh, it's a great question. There's a lot of great food here. We have the basic, restaurants and fast food stuff here, so you can find that here as well. We have really good, Tex-Mex here in Arizona. Just being, obviously in Texas, I had it as well there. A couple of good spots. It kind of just depends on where you're at in the valley. I'm in Gilbert, so we're in the East Valley next to Mesa Chandler area. That's where I live and where I'm from. So we have a couple of good spots out here. But you really can't. I mean, you really can't go wrong with it. I mean, we have great, pizza and just really, I mean, really anything you ever want. I mean, we have here, which has been nice. A lot of we didn't have that kind of luxury. I'm a big In-N-Out guy, as far as burgers go. So we didn't have that in Lubbock, but we have it in Texas. It's in Dallas, Austin area. But I'm a little ways from that. So every time I come home, In-N-Out is my go-to for sure. If you guys are into burgers like that, it's my favorite.
Mhm.
So I know that's a not just an Arizona thing, but that's obviously my go-to when I come here for burgers and stuff. And
What's the order?
don't
Yeah, what is the
okay, so
order?
I do a double with no tomato, and then I do fries and like a chocolate shake usually. That's like my go-to. And I grew up In-N-Out. I was born in California. My family's from California, so we grew up In-N-Out, and that's the way to go for sure. So, but no, food, we have great food here. Yeah, Tex-Mex. I mean, just anything. Yeah, anything you'd ask for. So,
What on the milkshake and fries, right? When I was just coming back from Vegas, and In-N-Out was rammed. But
yeah.
watching people dip fries into chocolate milkshake regularly is that a thing? What is that something that you do? Or is...
I don't no, I don't do that. I don't do that. My girlfriend does that, and I do not do that. No, that's not me. Yeah,
Dude,
Yeah.
that's
that's
separate.
legit, man. That's legit. That's really nice. Salty and sweet. You get, your salted sweet caramel kind of. Yeah, too
Oh,
No,
good.
it's like
I
obstacles.
never really hopped on that train, but it's you do whatever you want. I mean, it's up to you. But
I'm
no,
more impressed. I'm more impressed. You said tomato rather than tomato. That was a
yeah,
touch.
tomato.
I don't know if that's just for the English podcast or what, but
Yeah,
that was a
absolutely.
touch, man. That's the
Yeah,
details right there.
yeah, yeah.
Is cow brain tacos a real thing?
Is what? What'd you say?
Cow brain tacos. I got offered them in Arizona when I was out there many years ago. Cow brain
Mm,
tacos. Is that legit
I
or is that not?
I don't know much about that, to be honest.
All
Couldn't
right.
tell you.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I guess I have to do some research on that. I
Stay
can't
away
tell you.
from it before the
Tell you.
draft, whatever you do.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't know. I can't help you with that one, so I'm not sure.
All right.
But
Okay.
I think you were
I,
getting stitched up there, Ollie.
mate, I'm glad I dodged that one. If I'm honest, I just stick with
yeah,
the
yeah,
regular asada group kind of stuff.
right. Yeah.
I
Did you
think
make it
something.
out to the?
Oh yeah,
Did you
go
make
on.
it out to the waste management then?
I
Obviously this
did.
year.
I did. I was
Yeah.
there. I
Beautiful.
missed it. I missed it last year. Obviously, I was in Lubbock, doing workouts and stuff, and I was like, next year I'm going. Like, I'll be in Arizona. I knew I was gonna be in Arizona for the
Nice.
NFL process. Like, I'm gonna be here. So I'm going no matter what. Whatever. So we had one of our we were trying to help our we asked a few guys to help us get tickets for it, and so we had one of our friends hook us up with we actually had box seats on 16, which was nice. So
Ooh,
we were
nice.
able to go and enjoy the day, and we went on the worst day. We went on that Saturday when there was like 500,000 people there. I mean, they shut down alcohol sales that day. We walked in at about 11:30 roughly. And they were just letting people through. I mean, me and my dad went, and we were like, when are they going to scan our wristband and tickets and whatever? And they never did. I mean, from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. and they're just letting people through, like no ticket,
Wow.
nothing. Like just people were just walking in, and it was mayhem. It was just hectic. So many people there, and unfortunately, it makes for a great atmosphere. But there's also, I mean, I'm sure you guys know and heard. I mean, there was a lot of stuff that went on, and a lot of bad stuff went down, and so
Mm.
they're gonna have to fix it for sure for next year in order to keep the best golfers in the world to come and play in it and to make it a hot attraction. So it's gonna have to change a lot, unfortunately, and I think they're gonna jack up the prices and do a bunch of stuff, which is
Mm.
unfortunate. But it was quite the atmosphere. I mean, that was probably my first golf tournament because I've been in Lubbock and we don't have golf tournaments in Lubbock, but I watch them all the time. I've never been to one officially, but I know they're a lot more quieter and laid back more than that one. That one's just always rowdy, obviously, but it was still a lot of fun. I mean, there's a lot of people there, and it was a great atmosphere. They had like a whole section of just like tents with bars. People were just out there drinking. No one was even watching golf. They were just out here just drinking and just enjoying the weather. So it was pretty crazy. So it was a lot
Did
of fun.
you guys get cut off in the box? I mean, was it different for the guys that have got the nice seats on 16 as opposed to the riffraff down there?
Right. Yeah, yeah. I mean, you gotta have like a pass to get up onto like the box. So obviously, those not free for all. They have guests. They have like the general admission seats, but those are the open seats. I'm sure where people are throwing beers and just going crazy, whatever. That's the general admission. So that's them. But we were on the other side of that. So overall, like I said, it was good. But when you walk down out of the box, there's just floods of people everywhere. So the box seats and those are all reserved, and those are honestly kind of packed too at times. They pack those things as well. So it's like I said, everyone from the country comes here and they come play golf here anyway in Arizona. So they probably come for the waste management and want to watch it and enjoy the better weather, and it doesn't snow here. So
Mm.
it's a hot attraction, and it was a lot of fun. It was really cool. I went with my dad. My dad and my grandpa and his uncle came down to play and back in 2020, but I wasn't even golfing yet. So I've actually rode around I just run the golf cart and just hit a couple balls here and there, whatever. But I haven't officially played it yet, but I've been there. It's really awesome, great course. You can play it for pretty cheap in the summer here. Right now, it's like $600 to play it, but it goes down in the summer, and
Yeah.
golf here is affordable in the summer here because it's too hot. But
Oh, I'm
yeah,
calling this guy in a few months for sure when I need
Yeah.
that summer holiday break and go off to
Yeah.
Scottsdale and play the Waste Management.
Yeah.
absolutely.
I said last one from me, mate, because obviously before we know it, we blink and the draft will be there, and you'll be waiting, obviously, hopefully for that call. Have you already thought
Mm.
about where you want to be, how you're going to set up? I've seen guys with 2-3 phones, making sure it's completely clear so no one can get through and stuff. What's your setup going to be come draft day?
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have 2 or 3 phones. I just have my personal one, and that's gonna be enough. And yeah, I'll have. So I invited a lot of teammates and friends and family from out of state already just to come for that Saturday. And just be able just to hang out. Just because they have to book flights and stuff. I'll have a lot of friends and family that are here local. And that'll come and be able to come and just hang out for the day. I'll just have people come through the house and just hanging out, waiting obviously for the call, hopefully on that day. But just kind of just appreciating the process and enjoying that day, and that I made it to draft day, and it's obviously a blessing, and not a lot of people get to experience that. So I'm really excited for that day, and very appreciative of it, and just have some people come through the house, come by, and just hang out that day, and nothing too crazy. I'll just be hanging out. So it should be fun.
Love it. Love it.
I'm thinking wings, chips, dip. That's how you do. You just ease into it, just chill,
Absolutely.
relax, take your mind off it.
Yep. You just gotta. Yeah, we'll have some good food here, and yeah, just everyone just have the TV on, just watching, and just waiting for that call. So
all right, just last one very quickly from me then. I don't know how much the college guys pay attention to it. There's a huge push right now with the International Player Development Program. Obviously, a lot of the guys coming from European backgrounds and South American backgrounds are going to have that soccer ability, that kind of natural soccer instinct, which you said yourself kind of took you down the road of being a punter. And obviously we see it with kickers, punters, the like. Do you fear a little the kind of influx of the additional push that the NFL is trying to do internationally to get more people playing the game, and how that's going to affect a very narrow niche special part of the game with kickers and punters? There's going to be a lot more competition suddenly, potentially.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. No, I think it's great. I mean, we had 5 guys from Ireland at the combine. I'm sure you guys heard and aware of that, and it was awesome to meet them and get their story and stuff. And do
you understand them?
Yeah.
Did you understand the Irish guys? All right. Okay. Cool. There's some thick accents in that.
Cool. Yeah, they had very strong accents. I think some of the guys all struggled. We're Irish. I have an Irish last name. My family was just in Ireland this past summer. So and so yeah, so we it was very different, very unique, which is awesome. But no, I think it's gonna be great. I mean, the game is definitely growing. I mean, we're playing games overseas now in different countries, NFL games, right, in Mexico and Europe and London and just everywhere, right? It's really cool. And even college football, there's some college football games that went to Ireland last year. I think Notre Dame played there last year, or whatever it was, but 2 years ago. But no, it's been awesome to see that and the growth, and I think it's gonna be great for the NFL and really football in general, American football, and just be able to. And the competition, is great. I mean, there's a lot of competition here in the U.S., so there's nothing new for us, and for me, and I think it's only going to continue to grow and get better. And those guys, I give them a lot of props for being able to come to the combine and compete, and after not even kicking very long and coming to the United States for the first time, a month or 2 prior, and just all that is just. I mean, I was feeling nervous and pressure, and I live here, and I've been kicking for 8 or 9 years now, and it doesn't make it any easier. So it was a lot of cool. It was really cool to get to meet them, and I'm sure it'll continue to grow and get better. So I'm looking forward to seeing that.
Austin, man, look, come over in July, go off to watch the Open at Troon in Scotland, do a kicking camp there, because if you can kick on the coast of Scotland with those winds, you can kick anywhere. The draft stock will be through the roof, kind of thing. You'll be golden.
You want to go downwind for sure, not into the wind.
Yeah, definitely.
100%.
Yeah, you're going for it on 4th and 5 if you're going into the wind for sure.
Yeah,
you don't take the field of that one. No, man, we really appreciate the time coming on here and having a chat with us. Look, best of luck with the draft. Obviously, fingers crossed that everything plays out and you get exactly what you want from it. And we kind of hope, I think, I speak for Sam as well, that you get drafted to one of the teams that's coming to the UK, so we can go for a round of golf at one of the nice hotels that you guys stay at, and catch up again.
Yeah, there you
Oh
go.
no, that'd be awesome. I'd love to. Thank you guys for having me and for the time. I really appreciate it. It was just fun to get to meet y'all, and yeah, no, that UK trip would be awesome. I'll take y'all up on that one day. That'd be fun. So
Oh, man,
100%, my man.
awesome. Cheers, Austin. Thank
All
you
the
very
best,
much, man.
Austin, man. Thank
Appreciate
you
it.
very much.
yeah, thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Cheers, man.
Austin McNamara, punter for Texas Tech, joining us here on the first show. Man, doesn't get much better than that. Getting an NFL draftee coming on.
Cheers, my man.
Cheers, Austin. Thank you, bro.
See you, mate.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
See you, mate. Bye. Question, obviously, you went around, obviously, like they said, they're under the microscope with everything they do. Like, do I need to go to the toilet now? Does it look like, they're probably actually thinking,
But,
just what
it's
is
how
right,
they
what's wrong?
interact after a drill. Even if the drill goes well, it's right. That's fine. We know a guy that runs a 4.2 and a guy that runs a 4.3 in a 40-yard dash makes no difference on an NFL field at all, because 90% of the success will come down to attitude and ability to work with other people. So time is time. And it's great for the guys that can run fast, for instance, or bench loads, because they get a splash. It's a headline maker. That's good for them and the individual brand. But the coaches will go, right, how did he react after doing well? Or how did he react after doing badly? Did he go over and still interact with his teammates? Was he perhaps dishing out advice or talking to them about stuff as the drills were going on? Was he paying attention to the guys when they were going through what the drill is? Or was he stood in the back chatting with other people and stuff? All of that is the majority of what makes a lot of the combine. It's crazy.
Which then makes me think, Marvin Harrison Jr., who just said, I'm not doing it. How good do you have to be and know you are and know what you're going to, you're getting drafted in, let's say the top 5 picks or whatever, for you to be able to do that and know that all the homework that's been done on you, you're clear.
I mean, it probably helps when your dad's Marvin Harrison, to be honest.
There is that. Yeah, it's just
you don't need to know that
wild.
kind of thing. But I mean, Jerry Rice's boy was at the combine, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And he shouldn't need to, if we're going off name and reputation, nobody should be looking at him at all with any doubt. But Marvin Harrison Jr. is different in that he was a stud at Ohio. Like, he could have gone last year and gone as a top 3, top 4 prospect. If everybody's got the tape on him, he's probably just like, look, I don't need to. Unfortunately, he might be one of the guys who's more focused on, right, I need to work about my individual brand now because I know I'm getting drafted. So that's what works for me.
I think that was what he kept saying. He was like, I need to prepare for the NFL now. I need to get my body right for the NFL, not me get into the NFL. That did sound like what he kept talking about, obviously, throughout his time. Every time he was getting questioned around it. But good luck to these rookies, man. I've spoken to a couple in the past. Some that have made it. Sure you have. Some that haven't. And still follow their stories on Instagram. Some are coaching. Some I see her in a suit and tie. So that's the harsh reality of it, isn't it? Really.
Dude, I mean, the one for me is the guys that do it for like a year, 2 years in the NFL because they think they've got the dream, and then the dream goes, and it's like, you were there. Do you remember this? Was it the Seahawks on Hard Knocks where the guy got pulled just because they were told you couldn't have people in the dorm rooms, and then he smuggled somebody into the dorm room?
Yeah, was that the
and
Seahawks?
The guy, and the coach was like, nah, like, you're gone, you're done. It's like, what? No, I made a mistake. I'm sorry. It's like, yeah, but we told you not to do this, so you're done. And he was a rookie, I think, and it was like, you thought you were in.
Yeah.
And you weren't. Nothing's done until it's done, until it's signed off. Like, then what happens?
Well, look at Terry Crews. I think he was on Shannon Sharp's, one of Shannon Sharp's pods, I think, talking about how I think he was with Washington at the time. I think it was Washington. And he said he survived cut day. So he thought he was good. He made it, sacrificed, like told everyone that I've got through cut day. I'm good, like I'm ready to go. And he said whatever it was, a week or 2 weeks later, got the phone call, bring your playbook. Like,
yeah,
what? And he didn't earn any money through it. That whole time, putting his body through what he did. Yeah, man, like that, it is cutthroat, but
But that's why it's the best as well. Like that's why even in a bad season, like I still don't think we had a great season of the level of NFL football that we saw last year. But even in a bad season, it's still better to watch than most other sports because they are taking the very best. There's no competition. Nobody wants to play anywhere else except the NFL. So the guys that are good enough and try hard enough will always come to the top. And that's why they have like the best of the best, and it's the best thing to watch.
It isn't, leads us to what's happened now, where we've seen some great talent obviously go into free agency, some great talent, and everyone's like,
Great talent.
how is this talent not getting a contract? Hey, you can go and test free agency. And we had absolute madness and mayhem happen. So do you want to start, or do you want to, should we ease it? No, no, sorry, let's just go into it. I know if I hold this off any longer, you're just gonna explode. Saquon Barkley, mate.
Welcome to the strongest thigh backfield the NFL's ever seen. Jalen Hurts handing off to Saquon Barkley, or Saquon Barkley running a fake so Jalen Hurts can run off the other way. I mean, that's what it's going to be. What a pickup. And it has broken Giants fans. I mean, do you see the reaction from Tiki Barber?
Yep. Yeah,
What?
dead to me.
What
You're
a
dead to
call.
me.
You're dead to
Wow.
me. It means nothing. What you like. Firstly, Tiki, you had your time. I'm not a huge fan of like ex-athletes just weighing in heavily like that. I get Tiki Barber had the luxury of being a Giant all that time in his career. Fantastic. And you were a great running back. But this was a team that obviously turned their back on Saquon. They gave Daniel Jones 40 million. And if Rich Eisen is anything to go by, the Giants are out on him. What a waste of money that was. You then put doubt into what was really your standout player in the offense. Look, injuries have obviously played him the last few years, and not enough people are really mentioning that. But this is the guy, the heart and soul of the New York Giants, and you banked instead on a quarterback like most teams will,
Yeah,
and now he's walking off to your rivals. And it must have made Giants fans sick that the two teams that were most likely to get him were the Eagles or the Cowboys. I mean,
exactly. So it was always going to be the rival. For me, it didn't make sense because at the time it felt like it was going to be one or the other before the Daniel Jones contract and before extending obviously Barkley for that one season, whatever it was, his contract. It was like on paper, you take Barkley, Daniel
hmm,
Jones is replaceable. However, I feel part of me is like there seems to be this whole trend across the NFL where running backs were just uh, whatever. But I cannot understand. Ollie, I can't understand it. This year's NFL like draft class for running backs is not elite. That was that was last year. We saw some good running backs obviously coming through last year. Not this year. It's a good QB class. So why didn't you secure Saquon? Ride the season with DeVito if you could, or whoever you
hey,
wanted to
forget
put.
about it.
Hey, and then do what you needed to do because you would have saved the money from not paying Danny Dimes or not
You
so
want to save some
dime.
money? You go out and do what Pittsburgh did, and you get 90% of a contract paid by the Denver Broncos, and you get Russell Wilson for like 1.2 million. I mean, the Giants
That's
obviously couldn't
disgusting,
rely
isn't
on
it?
Russell Wilson, but they knew Kirk Cousins was available and going to be coming up for availability for this. So you could stick with Daniel Jones for another year. Well, we're undecided. We're undecided. Saquon, get a bag. It's not going to cost us half as much as a QB because running backs just
Yeah,
don't cost that much money, but he's still great. And then maybe make a run at Cousins, or as you say, one of the QBs coming through in this draft. Bo Nix, who's going to drop fairly far out of
yeah.
Oregon, still going to be a great QB to have from the looks of it in the NFL. So I don't know what's happening. I'm not a big fan of Giants fans jumping the ship necessarily and like being out on that team because you just go through hardship as an NFL fan. But it's
let
it's
me
wild.
let me just wipe my Cardinals hat as you say that. Um, you, you know what? Actually, do you know what they've gone and done though? They've gone and built that defense. Looking at the pickups they've just put, I mean, they've just paid Mr. Burns a hell of a lot of money. So
Thanks.
that defense, they've obviously gone all in. They've gone with they seem to be out of Daniel Jones. I'm just trying to see what they're going to be doing. I wouldn't be surprised if they try and trade up potentially. I don't know what they're looking to do and try and get up that. get up the list a little bit, or they just know they're confident in their scouting ability and what they're actually about to add into that offense, because or they've taken it as a down year. We'll go with a defense now and put ourselves in a position to go again in next year
Well, they've gone and got
already.
Devin Singletary, which isn't a terrible pickup for New
No,
York, obviously. I quite like what he did with Houston. He was pretty solid in the back end of last year.
yeah,
But then you talk about the defense, but they lost Xavier McKinney, who was, a big part player in that secondary, who's now gone to the
yeah,
Green Bay Packers. So
yeah.
it's a real state of flux in New York. And at the moment, with where Philadelphia and where Dallas are in that division, and, let's not dismiss Washington too much. I still think on paper there's a lot to be done, but they went out and got Austin Eckler. So like
Yeah,
everybody's
mad.
building in that
Mhm.
division, and the Giants are trending in the complete other way after they put basically the franchise in the wrong guy's hands. It screams of a lack of order.
I find it wild about the Giants purely off the back of they had that season where no one was expecting anything. They became that second half team. Like the comebacks in the second half were great. You look
Yeah.
like every player looked like they're ready to play for this coach. They're running through sort of brick walls for this coach. It gave me sort of Dan Campbell vibes a little bit, and I was like, oh, well, I'm gonna have to listen to a lot of Giants fans maybe in the next couple of years. Now I am, but more for a shoulder to cry on because that's what's happened. Um, but yeah, you're right. What direction is there? I just don't see it. I don't see the master plan right now.
They're going to end up with like 10 wins now. We've said that this early in the season, aren't they? They're going to have like 10, 11 wins, be a half decent team, and we'll have to sit back and go, oh, do you remember on March the 12th when we were just writing them off like everybody else did? That's definitely what you do in the NFL. Like,
That is the beautiful thing about the NFL, because again last year I think with us when we did the trade obviously with the Texans, in our heads we were going, yeah, we got two picks in the top 10 here. Like the Texans aren't going to pick up the wins, not this year anyway, and they've obviously gone and done that. And what have they gone and done now? They need to stop. Is what they need to do. I've got them down as my dark horse, the Texans. I think they might be
I
the
mean,
one to.
we obviously moving on from Singletary and bringing in someone like Joe Mixon that's an awesome pickup, absolutely awesome. And then adding that to a young, talented roster from last season that hit heights nobody was expecting.
Yeah.
CJ Stroud, let's wait and see.
Okay.
Don't get me wrong, first year was phenomenal for me, rookie of the year.
Yeah.
But everybody can jump to very quick conclusions in this game. And when you've got a year of tape on somebody, you can find a lot of, weaknesses in the armor, so to speak. So we'll see what happens with it. But yeah, I mean, the Texans were like the Cinderella story of last year, and long may it continue. I want to know what you think quickly, which is who's going to have a bigger impact at their new teams? Shaq Barrett down in Miami now, or Derrick Henry going to the Baltimore Ravens?
I still think Barrett at the Dolphins. Derrick Henry going to the Ravens is up. You look at it on paper and you're going, yeah, the Ravens were on fire last year and they needed something else maybe to get them over the line. It wouldn't have been Derrick Henry though. Derrick Henry wouldn't have won them that game. I think they still had a few issues. I love Lamar. I love Lamar Jackson. I think he's a great QB. He doesn't quite know when to take responsibility, when not to take responsibility. And I don't know if he would have still handed the ball to Derrick Henry. They didn't run the game enough. They didn't run the ball enough. In that game, they had the running backs. Gus the Bus was still progressive. Like he was still doing what he needed to do. The young rookie, his name's just gone from my head. He was still doing bits. Lamar could have run with the ball. They didn't do it. Derrick Henry is phenomenal. He still puts up numbers. I just don't know he's the one that takes him to that next stage. It's great.
I see it as reduced carries for Derrick Henry. It gets fewer touches of the ball than we saw in Tennessee, which is great for his longevity. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to see Derrick Henry kind of getting run out of the NFL because he's been overworked too much, and that could have easily happened in Tennessee. But Lamar's keeping it more than he's handing it off, in my opinion, because
100%.
they built that offense around Lamar's mobility as much as his arm or anybody else in it. So you've got a brilliant dummy in Derrick Henry, and it's a great second option, and he's going to have a much longer career for it, hopefully, all things going well. But Yeah, it's fewer carries. It's not a great one for fantasy owners, and that's what we really care about, isn't it,
Yeah,
Sam? So
yeah, exactly that, exactly. And I say, coming back to Shaq, because I need to give him his flowers. I think this guy's, I thought he's phenomenal. I'm surprised, obviously, see again someone not get like himself, obviously get tied down. I believe he probably would have stayed there, obviously, as well at the Bucks. So I think I look at him now and I'm just like, this is great for Miami. If I talk about, I just mentioned about would it have gotten to maybe the next stage or a little bit further. I think he does that.
Mhm. Yeah, well, and Miami have been hemorrhaging great players from that defense. Obviously, Nick Chubb went during the year. Xavier Howard's on his way out. So getting a leader and like a really big presence in that linebacker position in the middle of the field is massively important for Miami because at the end of the day, the offense is always going to get a lot of love.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Studley, when you've got someone like Tyreek Hill can take the top off, and you've got that running backs kind of room
yeah,
with
yeah,
a Chain and Wilson as the backups at this point, and still look fantastic. Mostert had a great year as well, obviously.
yeah.
It's that defense that needs to keep them from conceding 35 points a game, 30 points a game, so the offense can score 40 and have an easy win, much like they did against Denver at the beginning of last year. Bringing in someone like Shaq Barrett to disrupt things quite nicely is, yeah, it's a beautiful thing. And some flowers for the Falcons as well, because Cousins, Pitts, Mooney, London, Robinson. How good is that as a five? How good is that as a
Fine,
five?
but finally, we might see the Falcons actually do something here. I never. We all watched the quarterback. We all watched Mariota. What he was doing. Mariota's Mariota. I'm not going to disrespect the guy. He spent a lot of time in the NFL. You saw some talent there. That there might be something going on. We don't see that stops him from going to that next level. But what you replace him with is wild, like
Mm.
ridiculous. And I'm not here to bury players in that sense, but when a lot of the outsiders, and it's not fan chat, it's just general chat going, this guy is wasting, Arthur Smith wasting talent with
Mm.
Ridder, putting him with all those players you just mentioned, wasted. In fact, in that role as QB, don't do anything. Hand it to Bijan. And if you're the QB that's made this league, you should be able to pick out all of that other talent. Now you've put Kirk Cousins in there, who I just feel like the only question mark for me is that Achilles. That is not a nice injury to obviously come back from. That's the only question mark. Everything else,
But you know
Falcons.
what? If they can protect him right, Kirk Cousins, the most he needs to do is what Brock Purdy was accused of doing. He just needs to game manage. Take two
Hmm.
steps to your right or left for every handoff. Pitch it if you can't get
Yeah,
across, if that Achilles is struggling
yeah,
with you. And then Kyle Pitts underneath. Drake London off to the corner in the 20-yard line for a nice little corner back post of the end zone. I mean, it couldn't be much simpler. And you've got now a second weapon down in that middle kind of section of the field with Mooney, who just has been suffering from Bearsitis. That's all it is. You go to the
yeah,
Bears,
yeah, yeah,
life gets real tough. The weather
yeah,
gets crappy in the middle of winter, and your football playing ability drops off a freaking cliff. Unless you're Allen
yeah.
Robinson, who somehow goes to a better city and gets worse. I don't understand how
Worse.
that. I don't
Yeah,
understand. Allen Robinson's like the exception that proves the rule with Chicago.
yeah.
But yeah, I think Atlanta have got a really good chance in the South on paper right now, if that
One for
defense can live
me.
up as well.
I want to throw this one out to you. Removing Aaron Jones to bring in Josh Jacobs. Win for the Packers.
I mean, I really like Josh Jacobs. I really like Josh Jacobs. I think he's a really good running back. And I think Aaron Jones was brutally underutilized in Green Bay.
Mm.
Now, if a fresh face brings like a slight change in culture, and obviously Jordan Love isn't Aaron Rodgers or anything, I don't think we're going to be seeing as much hero ball out of Jordan Love. We didn't see it obviously last year. I've got no real problem with it. I think you're bringing in 1 and 1A basically. You're just changing them around. But a fresh face in that backfield, and maybe a slightly different array of talent in terms of like Josh Jacobs is a little more punchier, just with he got a slightly stockier frame, but still got great hands out of the backfield like Aaron Jones and is a threat in the passing game and on the out routes as well. But yeah, I don't mind it. It doesn't really mean much. If you're going to lose Aaron Jones, you might as well replace him with Josh Jacobs. So it's all
I
good.
hear that. I hear that. Listen, we can talk NFL, but all day, every day, there's going to be football crazy news probably every single day this week as we obviously lead up to the season and the draft and everything that's going to get moved around as well when it comes to that draft order. Put the ball away. Let's bring out a bit of a steering wheel and four wheels here, mate. The F1
Oh, I
season
love
is back.
love a nap. Oh yeah.
It I've been speaking about this for a while with other people. Isn't it a vicious cycle, the F1 season? Like off season, Verstappen wins. Then the off season, there's lots of changes. This is going to happen. Oh, it's going to be closer. And then the first corner of the new season, and Verstappen is into the win. How good are Red Bull? How good are they?
Do you know how good they are? I know that they've got upgrades coming in about 3 weeks' time as well, which is going to make them quicker. Like, there is no competition at this point. Adrian Newey is an aerodynamic god, and full credit to him. Like, they say that he can see airflow, which is just ridiculous.
Which is insane. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's amazing for Red Bull and it's amazing for Verstappen, and you have to credit them. Ignore off the track for the moment and everything that's gone on with Christian Horner and how the team are handling all of that. Let's focus on the sport. That has been phenomenal. I don't know what anybody else is meant to do though, Sam. Like, Hamilton moves to Ferrari, great. You're in a red car behind a Red Bull. It doesn't.
It's so far ahead. That's the thing. It's not close, and then you're looking at it going, oh, maybe they need a better driver. That shades off a few hundredths of a second and things like that, where it gets a little bit closer tactically. Look at the overtaking that Alonso does. If you put him in a better car, would he be able to compete? They're too far ahead. And you know what? Listen, I'm a Hamilton fan, but I have to, and it's not very nice when you're seeing Verstappen win the way he does at this point. But you have to tip your hat to the guy because Perez is in the same car, and he's not doing what Verstappen is doing. Verstappen is doing what Hamilton did in terms of reshaping the drive. Hamilton late into the brakes. He did that. He changed that. For a lot of people. Oh,
yep,
I lost you. I got cut off. I thought I got cut off. Anyway, yeah, I was just saying. Obviously, look, he went late into the braking zone. He's changed that sort of drive a little bit. I mean, for you, can you see anyone being that? Getting into that sort of like level.
No, you need it. The crazy thing about Verstappen is, like the greats, he's obsessed. He's a savage. He finishes the F1 season and he's straight into eSIM racing in a full F1 style setup that he's got at home. I mean, the guy is relentless in terms of work rate and work ethic, which goes really well with a lot of the people that are around him at Red Bull right now. And I think that's the problem is, Hamilton can switch cars or be like Mercedes took the worst route for development in this new era of Formula One. And Hamilton's obviously frustrated with the fact that they went down that wrong route with the no side pods at the very beginning, have had to backtrack, rebuild, restart again. And so that mistake has meant that we've got a pretty uncompetitive now industry in terms of Formula One. But it's only because as well, Verstappen is that level of psychopath. As you say, with Perez can't do it. He's not in that same league. And everybody's just praying that somebody don't start me on that. I'm not a fan of that. And then without testing Verstappen, and Verstappen can win qualifying, win the race, job done, and they'll have it wrapped up 2/3 into the season. And then, did you pay any attention to the stuff around Mr. Bin Sulayem, the head of the FIA? And
I did, but again, listen, there's always going to be in any sport there'll be some sort of controversy there, and I would be foolish to believe that this stuff doesn't happen in some way in all sports, as in someone is spoken to, or I'm not saying someone can influence in that way, but listen, Massa's taken the FIA to court over 2008. I still believe they can't. Someone's not there in the seat. Someone's not there. They're not driving. They can have some influence. Do I pay attention to it? I see it. Do I believe anything's going to change? No. So I don't really waste my attention span too much to it. Well, I mean, for you, do you think it's going to have any influence on what happens now?
Well, I mean, it affects, to me, when you've got the head of the governing body telling people to not give somebody who's in third place a time penalty so they stay on the podium. You know, we're so obsessed with who's first, but that constructors table is worth millions of pounds, separated in the middle of the park by a few points. So podium position suddenly in that race in Saudi Arabia for Alonso is a huge deal a year ago. So, and if we're going by, we're getting all annoyed as fans with, they go out of the track limits and don't get punished. It needs to be the right penalisation for everything. Right, well, if we're doing rule infringements, well, that's a penalty that should have remained with Fernando Alonso, and he shouldn't have had that podium. So I just think it's bad press. And then obviously the thing with the track issue in Las Vegas and how Bin Sulayem didn't want it to be kind of officially signed off. I mean, that's dangerous at the end of the day, and that's then thinking about the money more than and the spectacle rather than thinking about actual driver safety, which, as we touched on in our chat with Austin, like it's paramount for the athletes to be safe. It's just not what's needed when people are bored with F1, because when you get bored, you start searching for things, and if the head of the organization is suddenly got a few kind of nefarious headlines around it, it's not what you need is when you're trying to sell your brand.
I still believe. Listen, these things are they say are bang on, and obviously people want to see it a little bit more competitive and want people to. If those things are done by the letter of law and it evens it up in some way, then great. I still think we're, as a collective, everyone is still a little bit bitter since the Verstappen Hamilton championship. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. We are all looking back at that. You know, the crazy thing is with Hamilton and what he was doing, and that season in particular, drew in so many new fans. So many new fans that when that we call it the Netflix finish happened, all of those new fans went, well, what's the point of that then? You know, because Lewis did what Verstappen is doing now, 20 seconds ahead of everyone. And you want to go, you said you've got people there going, oh, you need to be following the letter of the law. Well, suddenly you changed it for a bit of it to allow that.
Yeah, give us the show. Give us the show. But that's what we want. We want the documentary. We want the behind the scenes. We want the drama. People were hyped about the Hamilton news, not because Hamilton going to Ferrari in 2 years' time is actually that interesting. To be honest, it's not. Like, you can talk about it for 2 minutes, but then we've got to wait 2 seasons or a season until he can get in the car and we can see whether it actually makes a difference or not. But people went, ooh, I wonder what this is going to be like in the new series of Drive to Survive that will come out after this season. And it's like, oh yeah, okay, great. Let's get the behind the scenes kind of. I mean, it's the same with what's happening in golf at the moment. All this live stuff. It's terrible for the sport because we don't get the best players playing in the same competition all the time, in the same way the NFL does. You know, that's why it's so good. Golf has been hindered by that. Whatever you think about live and everything like that in terms of the format, fans are losing out just because of it. But people love this Full Swing documentary that Netflix have brought out, and people love that. Oh, is he leaving? Is he going? I love the drama. Is McElroy going? He said something this week or whatever. People are just pouncing on tiny little things. It's not about the sport, Sam. It's about the playground drama.
Well, everything's around that now. Like you said, it's. I feel like everyone is kind of adopting the NFL element, right? You know, if you look at the Super Bowl, it's the week leading up to the Super Bowl. It's phenomenal, right? I'm now looking at boxing. I'm looking at the videos leading up to it now. That you got the YouTube fights. Even I've look at AJ's fight now. You know, when they put together the little promo video that they've done for it, it's like, where's all this stuff coming from? Like, it's taken away from the sport.
Why does Ngannou and Joshua hate each other? Why is this suddenly like a thing? Like, what?
You stepped into someone's ring, man. Like, listen, that was always going to happen. And people thought there was going to question marks in there. Fury went in there and underestimated him. And I don't think Fury was in the right, whether it's a state of mind. I just don't think he looked physically ready for that fight, to be honest, and thought it'd probably be light work. He took a hit because he wasn't his usual self. He got up and then he did win it on points. Like people say he won the fight. Yes, if you look at the knockdowns, but Fury went back into boxer mode and got the job done. AJ went, no, I will box him. This is the first time I've seen AJ for a while actually act like a boxer in a sense, and schooled him. And then he stepped into the ring, got knocked out, like knocked out. Right as well, not
it shouldn't have happened after the first one, by the way. Like Ngannou shouldn't be allowed to stand up again because he just couldn't defend himself. And AJ, yeah, I mean that was again for the show more than anything else. But yeah, but what do you expect? Anthony Joshua should end somebody, regardless of their size, that Francis Ngannou is, in a boxing match, because he's a professional boxer. He should know how to box. It shouldn't be a contest. Anybody that was like, oh, Ngannou, how's he going to have it? What was Floyd Mayweather's record of like getting hit? I think he got hit like with one every 30 punches thrown at him, something like that, because he knew how to block and he knew how to box. It wasn't a great spectacle. It was a clinic in the sport and the tactics. And that's all Joshua and somebody like that needed to do against Ngannou. It shouldn't. How they get overhyped. I mean, dude, Mike Tyson against one of the Paul brothers. I want to see Tyson bury him. Like
57-year-old Mike Tyson stepping into the ring with a YouTuber, and I don't want it to ruin Mike Tyson. If that makes, I really hope it doesn't ruin him in that sense, because if they met in the bar and he said something that he shouldn't say to Mike Tyson, we know how that ends. So I shouldn't expect anything different in this ring. 57 years age or not,
you've seen him train. You've seen the videos. He's got the speed still.
Ollie, I ain't getting anywhere near it. I see people always put would you stand and let Mike Tyson? Hell no, I wouldn't let him do anything. In fact, if he ever wanted to interview, I'd make sure it's still behind a piece of glass just to give you a chance, just in case I say something out of turn.
I mean, it shouldn't. I get it, right? Go out, make your money. I think it doesn't help the sport of boxing necessarily, because there are loads of people who are fighters waiting to get real opportunities at big belts. What it does do is it provides entertainment, and I guess sport is entertainment, so you can't argue with that. I don't personally know who these like Paul brothers are and stuff. I'm so out of the loop on that sort of thing, but they draw in a crowd, KSI, he's a posh kid from Berkhamsted, but he draws in a crowd, so he apparently can throw a few fists. So yeah, I guess that's what it's all about.
The Paul brothers, Jake Paul, the younger one, he can box. He can actually box. But I think now is the time for him to actually step away and actually go through the ranks. Like do it. Because you can box, so do it. And whether you get a title shot or not, I think you'll be more respected now to go and do that. We've seen you can box. He doesn't want to do that because we come back and it's always down to the dollar, and I respect it. He's earning his money, but now I feel like you've done that. You've got that money. You can actually go and earn some money from a bit more of a career here, because you can box.
Why would you want a career in boxing? You're just getting hit in the head. Like that's not a fun career. People don't necessarily do it because that's what they want to do. They do it because it's the way insanely that they've become talented at this sport of getting hit in the head. And nobody likes seeing the guy who's had too many fights still going into the ring on like the undercard, and like they just can't do it anymore.
That's Chisora. That's Chisora.
Yeah, like why would you want to be that guy when you can be the guy that has a almost pantomime fight with Mike Tyson, where they're not going to go hell for leather at each other because Tyson's over 50 and Paul doesn't want to be on the end of a Mike Tyson flurry. So there's probably going to be a sit down at some point where they go, right, let's just 6 rounds, keep it entertaining, make it a spectacle. And that's kind of what I think Fury did with Ngannou as well. I think Fury kind of knew like this is just for fun. Going back to your point of like he's not prepared and completely ready for it, but like this is just a laugh. It's not going to affect me really at all.
One for me, for you, yeah, because I want to, on my question, I'm going to end here with this, right? It's going to get us up, hopefully. Hopefully Fury, comes through unscathed to fight again. I still question marks on Usyk's that fight. I think Usyk could beat him. I really do. I think he's an amazing boxer. If Fury does come through and they need to set up that fight between him and Joshua, how upsetting would it be for fans for that fight to take place in Saudi Arabia opposed to somewhere in the UK?
Yeah, I mean, it's just a joke, isn't it? It's a real upsetting factor for the British public and British boxing fans if that is put like the best thing about Live Golf is it's got the money and the golfers don't have to live in Saudi Arabia. The best thing for the ATP right now is that they've got a lot 20 billion in investment and all they've had to do is give away some naming rights and not everybody has to go and be in Saudi Arabia because you look at the footballers and they're just not they want to come back because they're playing in front of a few thousand people. The Kingdom of Saudi Arabia is investing in all these sports and I would be quick to say there's not the same level of demand that there is in countries like England for things like a Joshua Fury fight, which if you put in Wembley is sold out like that. It's done. I'd be clamoring for a ticket, and I'm not a huge boxing fan. Like I enjoy it, covered it quite a bit, but I'm not necessarily like the ins and outs of the featherweight division right now, you know.
Yeah.
But it's such a shame that it is again, it's the money. They'll pay so much and more than the tickets would be for filling up Wembley. If the tickets were to cover the Saudi investment in that fight at Wembley, I don't know what you'd be looking at, but extortionate prices for ringside and stuff. So it would be gutting and it would lose the atmosphere and not the credibility, but certainly the sparkle of the spectacle, I think, for sure.
100%, mate. 100%. Well, mate, that was not a bad little roundup. It was nice being, had Austin obviously come in and lead us obviously on the NFL side. Cover a little bit of golf, boxing. Obviously, what is going on in F1? We'll definitely revisit it again. I've got some stories for you actually from the angry Uber drivers actually about the Las Vegas F1 event. So I will be bringing that up for sure in the next show because I was definitely haunted by that because it was every Uber driver brought it up. Every time I drove past it, I went, here we go. I knew what was coming.
You should have told them to drive like an F1 driver and been faster getting you to where you needed to go. I mean, I'm guessing that the traffic was pretty poor in Vegas. So.
Yeah, and there was a couple of suspected like cars that I really felt that I may not make it to my destination.
Okay,
So,
all right.
it was good that they stayed in second gear or whatever it is that they had going on out there. So rather than doing that,
My heart bleeds for the poor man that went to the Super Bowl. I think I sympathize. Everybody sympathizes for you, Sam, who's listened to this. Definitely, yeah.
So that's been a great episode of A Week in Sport. It was unbelievable. Ollie, mate, a lot of fun there, mate. I'm looking forward to obviously what happens and unfolds. We've got Cheltenham at the moment as well, so it'll be interesting to see how people get on with that as well this week, in amongst some really tough conditions with the weather that we have in the UK at this point. Obviously, still a lot of shenanigans going on in the cricket world as well, which we will need to cover on the next one. But been a pleasure as always, mate, and look forward to next week.
Yeah, tune into the National League on Sunday on TNT. That's all I'll say. I'll catch up with you next week.
Who have you got, Ollie? Who are you covering?
Halifax against Oxford City. Oxford City, bottom of the league, floundering, looking like relegation fodder. Halifax looking to get themselves back up into the Football League, just on the cusp of the playoff spots. So big one at either end of the table, mate.
All I say is big up to Dorking Wanderers, and I hope that they survive. I want to see them another year in National League, but we'll cover that another time. Cheers, guys.